Is this thing on? It's picking up. Alright. Baf here. Um, a lot of people have been asking me, hey, what do you think about that Oro trailer? And I don't want to do some big scripted thing where I analyze it piece by piece. I've only watched it the day it came out, and I'm watching it again. I watched it immediately prior to trying to make this video. And I'm just going to give a little bit of insight. For those of you who don't know, I'm a super long time Oro main from Street Fighter 3. So when they put this character into Street Fighter 5, um, I'm the target market, I guess. I'm the person they're trying to appeal to. I mean, obviously, it'd be nice if there were some new people who didn't know that much about Oro who like played him and was like, "Wow, this character's really cool," something like that. But definitely, they were intending to catch some of those longtime Oro players with the way they've designed this character. Be like, "Oh, you can finally play your main again," you know. Um, so I probably can offer a little bit of insight on the way Oro's kit works, and then some guesses on the way it's going to work in SF5. And then it'll be pretty fun, once the game actually comes out and we take a look at Oro and how he actually works and what I called and whatnot, or just some observations and whether they were accurate or how accurate they were. And maybe I can point out some things that you might not know if you weren't an Oro player back in the day. Uh, in general, well, I'll save my overall thoughts to the end, but I am pretty happy with what I'm seeing for what it's worth. I'm not going to try and bother mixing the volume. I'm just going to have it muted, so if you don't like that, sorry. But I'm just going to play the video and take some analysis right off the bat. They open with Oro Stand Fierce as a single hit normal. This is an overhead in Street Fighter 3, and it's slower. It's reactable. It's not like a super slow overhead, but you can block it on reaction if you're ready for it. But this is faster than it is in Street Fighter 3, and it's only one hit. And then immediately after that, he like does it kind of has like a startup, and then it does two hits. And I'm guessing Stand Fierce by itself is a non-overhead, and then if you hold it, you get a two-hit version that is an overhead, and the holding it gives it a reactable startup. This is basically exactly what they did with Yuri and Stam House. That's an overhead always in Street Fighter 3, and in Street Fighter 5 they made it so it's just it's either a quick move that's not an overhead or a slow move that is an overhead. Um, I kind of have my doubts that you're going to be able to combo out of this, or it's going to be plus on block or anything like that. It looks like they just tried to give him his old overhead on Stand Fierce, but then tried to give him a new Stand Fierce. I'm wondering if the Stand Fierce is going to cancel or something like that, like what the advantage is for the one-hit version. But it definitely looks like a more workable normal. Um, Oro basically didn't. I mean, his standing heavy punch, it had no properties other than being an overhead in Street Fighter 3, and it is Oro's main overhead, I would say. You've got that plus instant air stuff plus your universal overhead, and that's pretty much it. So I'm glad that that normal's coming back. I had my doubts because Alex, for example, had his Stand Fierce as an overhead, and they just nixed that entirely. And the Stand Fierce he got in return that is a cancelable heavy, that's really good for Alex's kit. But losing the overhead and getting the new overhead on towards strong, they had to do a lot of silly stuff mixing around to make that still work. So I'm glad that they've kind of done it the Urian way for Oro more rather than the Alex way where it kind of mixed around. Um, how his normals worked. There's towards strong. It looks a little bit different. It's not a great normal even in. It's kind of like a Guile back fist in Street Fighter 3, where it has a lot of range. It's the Guile towards fierce, where it has a lot of range and like good poking properties, but it's got kind of bad frame data. It looks like it's got bad frame data in this game too. That I actually can't tell if that's supposed to be stand roundhouse or stand forward. Let me look at it frame by frame. I think it's supposed to be stand roundhouse. That doesn't actually look like any normal that Oro has in Street Fighter 3. Going by the sound design would probably help right now because no heavies usually make a different sound than mediums. But I think he's got another normal that looks a little bit more like his stand forward, stand medium kick. And that one, the way that it kind of lingers kind of makes it look like a heavy. Like, I think that's supposed to be the stand medium kick, but it's hard to say. Because Oro kind of gets on one foot and pivots. He kind of like jumps for... Like, this first one he does kind of looks like a combination between the... Can you hold this? Not really. This kind of looks like a combination between his far medium kick and his far hard kick. The angle is like the medium kick, but this one has the full spin, so I don't know if they did a new normal if that's far medium kick or what. It's actually weird that like I can't tell the difference between those two. There's this universal overhead. They turned it into a normal, which is kind of cool. They did the same thing with Hugo in Street Fighter Cross Tekken and also Street Fighter 4, and I think they've actually done that with another character at some point in the past. Um, that's the forward throw from Oro in Street Fighter 3. It's not a mash throw in this game, thank God. It looks pretty awkward. Back throw looks the same as always. So it's just replaying them all. It's just showing us what all his normals are. I can't believe I can't tell which one's the medium and which one's the heavy. But it's like they both look pretty different for his standing kicks. So it looks like this is still close medium punch, or it looks like it's still stand medium punch, I should say. I would guess I would guess his far strong is just gone. It's not like that was a super useful poke in Street Fighter 3. It was okay. It was useful in some matchups. The main thing about it is that it was an option select. It was a built-in option select. So Oro could just poke you with stand medium punch, the far one, and it would just be a decent poke. It wasn't as good as his kicks, but it was decent. And then if they dashed in right then, or if they did something that got in the proximity of close strong would activate instead, and then you get the launch. And that was really good versus like a Makoto randomly dashing in or something like that. Oro had like a built-in option select with that, and now it's gone, so he can't really just like treat medium punch like a poke and a launcher simultaneously like he could in that game. But that's the reason they removed proximity normals in the first place, was to remove option selects like that, so I'm not too surprised. That was what looked like a jump cancel into jump fierce. So I doubt that Oro has a super jump in this game. I'm guessing this is like the twin close medium kick jump cancel in Street Fighter 4. Those characters had a super jump cancel in Street Fighter 3 where they did their close medium kick and super jumped, but they didn't have a super jump in Street Fighter 4, so they just gave them a jump cancel. And that the way that angled and the way that that's timed, it looks like it's probably just a jump cancel in this game too. So it's nice to see a jump cancel. I'm really happy to see that. Oro's close strong led to a lot of different combos in Street Fighter 3. There were like a lot of different viable enders. That's Crouch Fierce. I was super happy to see this. There were a lot of different ways to do anti-air with Oro, and this is the most sensible one. This is the most anti-air looking normal for him. And this is going to be real easy for me to apply, just for having played, like, I don't know, Ryu, Sakura, all these characters who anti-air with Crouch Fierce. This leap attack, it's not bad as a poke in Street Fighter 3. Oro kind of lacks another move that's like it. I often find that's really strong against kind of low poke kind of stuff, which is normally strong against Oro. Maybe not shoulder low forward, but other kinds of low pokes. Double jump. A lot of people are like, a lot of people theorize the double jump wouldn't be in the game. And whenever I would see the double jump, it would be like, oh, well, it can bait DPs. And I can tell you, even in Street Fighter 3, Oro's double jump is not really a DP kind of baiting tool. That's not what it's really for. The thing is, if you jump in and then jump away, and they DP, either you're going to hit them midair, or you're not going to even get an opportunity to hit them. Like, they're not going to be close enough. You're not going to be able to punish them on the ground, stuff like that. This double jump looks similarly slow to the Street Fighter 3 one. It's a maneuverability thing, and it also gives Oro a unique jump arc, which is really useful for getting like very ambiguous cross-ups. And it also lets Oro change directions midair, which is something that like most Street Fighter characters can't do. Dhalsim can do it in this game with his V skill, for example. So like if you jump over the opponent and then jump again, you would be facing them in the new direction. So maybe that could be useful in some scenarios in Street Fighter in this game. But the way that he pauses midair when he's doing his jump, I doubt this is going to be even remotely good as a DP bait. And even if your character does a DP to anti-air, if you're like, let's say, Ryu, and you would do a medium DP versus most characters, against Oro you might crouch fierce, and I think if you crouched fierce and Oro did his double jump, you would still recover before Oro would like be able to hit you or anything like that, so you'd be able to still anti-air him. And also, I bet a nickel that Oro in this double jump state, gets counter hit punished if he gets hit out of it. So I think this is probably going to be a thing that you're going to use for like positional stuff every now and then, but I don't think it's really going to be a DP bait, even though this game is a little bit more anti-air focused than Street Fighter 3 is. I don't think it's going to be a really useful way of baiting anti-airs. No one really anti-airs with super that much, raw super, in this game. A lot of characters can, but it's not like common. So it's not going to be useful. There's no like equivalent to Hakan Ultra 2 that you can bait with this double jump. It's the hit grab, the stomp. They say he's got all his signature special moves, and that's all four of them. They never show the air stomp, and I wouldn't be too surprised if they removed the air stomp because it's not super useful in Street Fighter 3. The only thing it does is instant overhead stuff, and I can see them adding it in the game just for that, but I don't think it would be a huge deal. So this is pretty weird. They actually gave Oro a new special move where he kind of kicks you. Kind of reminds me of the I think the Flash in Injustice had a move like this. That seeps to the light one, and then the medium one hits twice, and then the heavy one seems to knock down. That's the heavy one. I don't know what the fuck to make of this move. Oro did have a kind of notorious problem in Street Fighter 3, where if he couldn't land close strong, his combo options were pretty gimped. And then uh, you basically had the hit grab, and then you had, which you couldn't convert into anything bigger, or you had the uppercut, which you needed charge to do. And because of that, if you were getting a lot of punishes and stuff like that, there was no way to convert. Like, let's say I had a punish and I was too far away to land close medium punch. Like, if I blocked a knee drop from Urian or something like that, um, I would do close medium kick, and then I would do the hit grab, and there would be no way to convert to super. And I wouldn't have down charge because I just blocked the knee drop. Stuff like that. It would be like there would be a scenario where Oro couldn't really get a whole lot of damage because the only option he could combo into wouldn't really lead to much. So just the EX version of this move being a launch, it would have filled a hole in his gameplay. I don't know if it's going to fill a hole in his gameplay in Street Fighter 5, but it definitely looks pretty good. There you go, just launching and then comboing on reaction. I wonder how unsafe that close medium punch is going to be. I'm super nervous about that because it's safe on in Street Fighter 3. So there he just comboed it into itself. I think later in the video he combos it into an uppercut. Maybe the light version of that move is the combo from far away, and the uppercut's the combo from close. I wouldn't be surprised. You should have time to charge inherently to do the uppercut just from there. V-Skill 1 is his fucking Yagyu-Dama, sort of. Yagyu-Dama has quite a lot of startup in Street Fighter 3, but there aren't a whole lot of moves that can kind of punish it if you activate it from mid-range. Like, most characters can't really zip across the screen instantly. In this game, there's a few moves like that. Maybe, like, I bet Cammy could just EX drill you no matter what, or probably even regular drill you no matter what. So against a lot of characters, you're going to need to get a knockdown before you can get this up. Against other characters, like kind of fireball matchups, they show it versus like throwing fireballs later on. And it seems like, against those kinds of characters, you might be able to get it up pretty easily. It basically looks like Birdie's Bubblegum a little bit, doesn't it? Where it kind of like, you got different arcs. And I think they show one kind of bouncing on the ground. I don't know if they all bounce on the ground. There's him following it in. Looks pretty simple. If you have time to get it up, you get it up, and then you follow it in. This is like the intended use of Yagyu-Dama, the SA2, the fireball you follow in. But the notorious thing about Yagyu-Dama is you can get Oro on one side and Yagyu-Dama on the other side, and then get unblockables. But if you use it in its intended use, the kind of follow the fireball in and then pressured low versus overhead, it ends up looking quite similar to this. And the fact that this is not only meterless, but it actually builds meter, and you just have to contend with the poor startup. It looks like it looks like you got a little bit more. It looks more fair. Is what I'm trying to say. But it does look good. That was a close strong into a stomp. It did not relaunch. Rather notoriously, if you got a very particular angle on stomp in Street Fighter 3, it would launch the opponent upward instead of down, and Oro could actually set that up off of a few things, but most famously his launcher. One hit of launcher into medium stomp would give you a relaunch on all but 3 characters. So you'd be able to loop that little sequence, because one would combo to the other and the other would combo into the one. But here we have a second impact style kind of combo rather than third strike, where the stomp hits, but it hits them down instead of up. That one kind of looked like it hit up, didn't it? So there might be something here. There might be shades of a chicken combo. But, or, I don't know, I can't tell when it recovers. There's a big lingering question in everyone's mind, is like, is there going to be a chicken combo in this game? Well, we don't really have a good idea based on this footage. It doesn't nullify the chances, but it doesn't confirm it. Okay, this is like, this kind of reminds me of King's, like if you hit both kicks, 3 and 4 with King in Tekken. You guys know Tekken? I'm trying to think of a Street Fighter character who had something like this. It looks a little bit like KKB from Balrog, where you've got like a little hop, and then you've got 2 different follow-ups. Balrog has something very similar to this. What do we got here? Is that an overhead? Do we literally have like Balrog KKB going on here? It shows they were deliberate to show Akuma crouching, and this kind of downward swing, plus the fact that it's technically reactable, makes me think it might be an overhead for the punch follow-up. It's hard to say though. If it is an overhead, that's kind of an advancing overhead you could do while following in like a I guess you couldn't use it with V-Skill 1 because this is V-Skill 2. It probably works with the stones, Tengu stones. You probably get that overhead with, and then Tengu stones get some extra hits, and then maybe you can combo out of it. Something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some synergy there. That might also apply for his stand hard punch. You might be able to charge that and then get stones to hit and then combo out of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Oro had Chun-Li style combo, like Chun-Li's trigger down towards medium kick, where you can get some an overhead you can combo out of. I wouldn't be surprised if Oro had something like that, and that would be a nice balance between Chun-Li's overhead versus like Yuri and charge stem right now, so you can just always combo out of. Where's the kick one? That one looks like it has a lot better range, but I don't know what it would really be for. You could probably trigger activate off of either of these, but I doubt you can special cancel them or anything like that. It just depends on what the properties of this spin are. If it goes through fireballs or something like that. I don't know if Oro will really need help versus fireballs, because he's got a fireball of his own, and it has pretty good frame data as far as fireballs go in Street Fighter 3. This is big. This is actually something that, like, if you didn't know this about Oro in Street Fighter 3, he's got a Super 1. People never pick it because his other two supers are bonkers, but his Super 1 gives him, it turns all his punches into a grab, and it's quite a good grab. It has pretty good range and pretty good speed depending on the punch you use to activate it. If you do light punch, it's really quick, and if you do heavy punch, it's better range. And you can do it on the ground or in the air. But the thing about it is that it just deletes all of Oro's punches, and it also deletes his half circle back punch, which normally you can combo into. But if you do half circle back punch with the Super 1 activated, it just gives you the super. So, and it's weird because you can't do like close medium kick into just punch. That won't work. Because it won't special cancel. But you can do close medium kick into half circle back punch, and it will give you the super version of the command grab, which you can't combo into. So it's like it's a little buggy in general in Street Fighter 3. But the thing about it is that it deletes all of Oro's punches to replace them with the throw, and the throw is good, but you lose like the launcher, you lose the overhead, you lose the stuff that you can kind of mix up with the throw. So it's questionable whether Oro's even better when the super's activated. But here, Oro, you can kind of tell he does a launcher and then he does the air version, so you can tell that Oro actually keeps the punches. So this is like a massive improvement over what this super was in Street Fighter 3. So he's getting the stand medium punch there, and then jump cancel into the grab. I'm gonna guess this trigger is gonna end up being like it says command throw. I'm gonna guess it's gonna end up being like Poison V Trigger 2, where she's got like they're both grabs, but she's got like a close range and a far range version, and then you can combo it to both of them, but also just on raw their grabs. I'm gonna guess this is like that, where you've got a ground version and air version. The ground version is pretty short range, but you can combo into it from stuff. Well, maybe you can't combo to the ground one. You can obviously combo into the air one. But these do look like they'd probably be real throws, so you've got like a throw trigger going on here, which is definitely very enticing. I can see that being really good. But like functionally, okay, he canceled into it. I forgot that was in the video. So that looks like it's like far hard kick or whatever. Either medium kick or hard kick, we'll never know. And then probably I would guess this trigger is just like hard punch plus hard kick to do. So you can combo into it, and not only that, but you can combo into it from anything that cancels the trigger, because I doubt that special cancels. So that's very similar to Poison. I think Poison can do stuff like that, or she can cancel into the grab and then it combos. She can also link into it, or I wouldn't be surprised if he can link into it too. And then Tengu Stone. So what links does he get here? That was the regular Stand Fierce. That was not the overhead Stand Fierce, from what I can tell. So this is probably just a hit that he's linking out of naturally. Pretty cool though. Cool link. Stand Fierce, scratch hard kick, scratch run outs. Uppercut. This actually does work in Street Fighter 3, but you very rarely see combo. It's hard to get a combo that actually works from it. But you can get the uppercut and then the stones to hit. And then from very particular scenarios, you can then combo out of that. What is that console? Is that like a fucking Wonder Swan or something? It looks like a Switch. I think buttons on one side, and it's like 4 buttons on one side and a D-pad on the other. I can't tell what that's supposed to be. Stand Fierce. What is this? So Oro has a little bit of a cooldown whenever he does stones in Street Fighter 3, where the stones can't follow. If you do attacks too close together, the stones won't follow you around. Like if you do light kick, medium kick as a TC, the stones just, well, I should say light kick, pause, medium kick. You'll get the light kick to hit and then 3 stones, and then the medium kick. The stones won't hit for the medium kick, so you can just cancel the medium kick right away, and the stones won't like ruin your combo in any sort of way. But here, every single normal he does, the stones follow him in. So I don't know if I don't know if the stones don't have a cooldown. I don't know if it's gonna work like say Embu, where they just hit afterwards no matter what, or if they do have a cooldown, but he's just hitting like, because the stones followed really quickly with all those attacks. You got all 3 stone hits for every single normal in that sequence. I like these cute little animations with Zidle. He looks like a crotchety old man. So universal overhead. I think crouch jab, that little quarter circle forward kick thing. So that's a thing. Okay, so in Street Fighter 3, Oro has no combo from lights, with the negligible exception of I think EX uppercut. Oro can't string together two light normals. That's like a big thing about his character is that people often mention like, oh, his combo potential is super good with the launcher, but if you can't get the launcher, Oro like doesn't have a grounded link. You've got the target combo, light kick, medium kick, which is just a target combo and it doesn't cancel, so you know you get those two hits and that's it. GG. Very similar to Nash, light kick, medium kick in this game actually, ever since they changed it. Um, and then you've also got stand jab into close jab into far short, which is a one frame link, and the far short doesn't go into anything. He can't do like low short low jab. He can't do two low jabs. He can't do like two close jabs. There's no like two light normals he can string together. And then not only that, but the only special move that combos from a light normal at all is like EX uppercut, I think, and maybe one of the other versions of uppercut. I don't want to say with any certainty because none of them are useful. So a big question that I was thinking about, this is probably something that most people weren't thinking about, but I was thinking about it a lot with Oro, is like what the fuck do you do for his line normal combos? And they show us two right here. If you get, because it's really important to be able to combo out of line normals in this game for like 4-frame punishes and stuff. They show us crouch jab into quarter circle forward, or whatever, I don't know the motion of that move. I started to say quarter circle forward kick, but that's Stomp. So who knows what the fucking motion of that is. It's probably like, I don't know, half circle back or quarter circle back or something like that. But they show us the light version of that as a combo ender. It doesn't look great, but it worked. And then they show us down short, down jab, which is a link he didn't used to have. He's probably going to have a few links. It's probably going to be, most characters in Street Fighter 3 don't really have linking normals in general, and everyone does in SF5, so I knew he was going to get some stuff. But I didn't know what the plus frame normal would be, because it's like, what the fuck? He doesn't really have a normal like that, where it's like, what could you make +4 and then link out of it or whatever? None of his normals would it really make sense. And they don't actually, for what it's worth, in this whole video, they don't show us anything like that. They don't show us like maybe the new Stand Fierce is like +4 or something. I don't know. We'll have to, remains to be seen. Anyway, they show us another one right here, low short, low jab into the what I presume to be the light hit grab, and that combo. So you've got not only you can probably go into the uppercut as well. Now that you can do, because the only thing that would prevent that is not being able to. In Street Fighter 3, if you had low short, low jab as a combo, you could theoretically do low short, low jab like EX uppercut and use that as a confirm. But because no two crouching light normals combo, you can't confirm the uppercut cancel, and because even if you have charge starting off, you can't really safely go into it. But in this game, because you have that sequence, you could theoretically use that to confirm uppercut, and then also you've got at least two other special moves they've shown right here that do work, so that's quite a lot. This combo actually does work in Street Fighter 3. This close medium punch, 2 hits, and then a cancel to fireball, the up fireball, and then a stomp. It gives you, usually it can give you this kind of stomp where it sends them down and crosses up. This is actually what it generally gives you, but with very precise timing, you can get a stomp that you can combo out of in Street Fighter 3. On most characters, the launcher into the fireball just doesn't combo. Only on like 5 characters does it actually work, I think. And usually you have to do the one hit, close strong into fireball. But on those characters, it's actually a very good juggle. It's kind of hard to do. But it's like a different chicken combo that Oro can do. It's a different launching loop. It'll be like close strong, one hit, upward fireball, heavy stomp, repeat. But they kind of show a shade of that here. So this is like something a little akin to a chicken combo. You got the close strong 2 hits into fireball. So you need fire charge to do this combo. But you're getting like, a juggle, mid-screen juggle. And then that looked like Jump Fierce. It only does the first hit, but I don't even know if it's a 2-hit move in this game. They haven't shown a 2-hit version of Jump Fierce yet. And then Crouch Fierce. This is interesting. This is his Crouch Fierce animation, and they showed this normal off earlier when they were showing anti-airs, so it definitely is Crouch Fierce. It's not something different. And then he special cancels it. Well, EX cancels it. So it's possible it's EX cancelable only. I doubt it. I don't think there's a single move like that presently in Street Fighter 5. There was it in the beta. But Oro didn't have a cancelable heavy in Street Fighter 3. And he would have appreciated one. He could cancel Crouch Fierce to Super only, and there were a couple juggles in the corner that utilized that for both Super 2 and Super 3. But it would have been nice for like certain punishes and stuff if you had a cancelable Crouch Fierce, but Crouch Fierce only cancels to Super. It doesn't cancel to special moves. In this game, it looks like it does cancel to special moves. So I imagine that would be involved in some of his max damage stuff. Or maybe you would just use the launcher. It remains to be seen. But this is kind of neat. Oh, and they're showing off. This is the one that goes into uppercut. So that looked like heavy uppercut. Light and medium uppercut for Oro are both one hit. but that one hit twice. They're very fun-looking B&Bs. That's a that looks like it would do more damage than his launcher stuff to use Crouch Fierce and use the EX move. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what his one bar combos are going to look like. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that ends up being max damage for one bar. There was a lot of stuff I knew wasn't going to be in the game, and then there was a lot of stuff that I kind of wondered it might be in the game. One of the things I wondered might be in the game is like the chicken combo, and we haven't seen that, so it's not deconfirmed. But you know, based on the little combos they've shown, it's hard to say whether I don't think it's going to be in, but they could sneak it in some way or another. Like he could get some anti-air crush counter, or like some particular crush counter, and then one hit of close strong into Stomp, and that might give you like a 2 or 3 loop chicken combo. But if you just lands the launcher by itself, it wouldn't work, for example. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that, because anti-air crush counter or like certain crush counters create a free juggle state. So if they made it so it worked on a free juggle state only, they could still have it in the game, and they could even still have it be fair because it would be comboing from a heavily scaled starter. They didn't show us launch into trigger or anything like that. I would have liked to see that. They showed us launch into trigger attack at one point, but I'm a little curious on whether he's going to have any sort of stone struggles. It could be in the game, might not. It wouldn't be that useful in this game because of the way scaling works. You would heavily scale yourself very rapidly if there was something like a Tengu Stone Juggle. But I'm guessing they only show us the 3 Stone Tengu, and I wouldn't be too surprised if that was the only Tengu in the game. But for what it's worth, in Street Fighter 3, you've got a 3 Stone Tengu that lasts about 10 seconds. I couldn't tell you the exact amount of time, and you can't juggle with it. The stones fuck your juggle potential. And then you've got a 5 Stone Tengu by hitting multiple punches with the super motion. You've got a 5 Stone Tengu that's every stone resets the juggle potential, so you can do infinite juggles with it, but it only lasts about half as long. So you've got one that's kind of oriented towards pressure, but you can't get combos with it, or you can only get grounded combos that are pretty precise. And then you've got another one that lets you do infinite juggles as long as the trigger's active. And it's possible they could have both in the game. I wouldn't be surprised, because Oro, his big gimmick in Street Fighter 3 is that he's got EX supers, and that's one of them. The 5 Stone Tengu is one of his EX supers. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something to sneak in a reference to that. If he had like 2 different versions of his triggers, or if he had 2 different critical arts or something. I don't know that they're going to do that, but it's like it's still on the table. They never show his critical art during this trailer, but for what it's worth, if you go and look at when they first reveal him, they're doing like a mocap thing, and they've got like one guy positioned upside down on wires on top of another guy. The pose they're doing is the animation for his EX Super 1. So they don't show the EX Super 1 anywhere in this video, so it's almost certainly his critical art. And for what it's worth, EX Super 1 with Oro in Third Strike is like it's a command grab, but he kind of jumps before he does it, and it's pretty slow. I don't know the exact time, but it's got to be like 10 frame startup or something. So you've got plenty of time to jump after the freeze. The recovery is very short, so like technically Oro can, if you neutral jump, and after Oro does the EX Super, he can like anti-air you after you neutral jump. And of course, you can get out of that with like a parry against his anti-air, or you can just jump back or jump forward or something, jump in some direction that's not just up. So it's not like a super. Oro's not punishable if he misses it, generally speaking. But you can just anti-air him out, or I shouldn't say anti-air. You can just hit him out of the super with certain attacks, but it's invincible while he's jumping. So it depends on what you hit him with. Like if you've got like an uppercut with like a lot of active frames, generally speaking, you just jump out. Because like if you try and interrupt it with like a normal on the ground, you'll just get grabbed. Anyway, a good analog to the way that super works in this game is something like Laura Critical Art, where it's got a lot. It's not a lot of startup for a Laura. I think it's 4 frames, but it's got startup, and you can just jump out of it. But it's a real grab, and then you can also combo into it. If you cancel into it, it'll combo. I'm gonna go on a limb and just guess that Oro's super is gonna work like that, where you've got you can do like some kind of sequence into it, and I'm guessing that you would go through his new special move, because none of Oro's existing special moves really work with that style of super. Like you wouldn't be able to. All of Oro's stuff launches. Like theoretically, I guess you could go Fireball super, but Oro's Fireball is actually too slow to combo from anything in Street Fighter 3. Like if you do close medium kick into Fireball, it actually won't combo. Or low medium punch into Fireball. Now he's got a cancelable Crouch Fierce. You might be able to do Crouch Fierce Fireball and then do like a super from that. Or they might have sped up his fireball. You might be able to do like, well, we didn't actually see close medium kick anywhere in here, so it's debatable whether he even has that normal anymore, because it was a close normal and most close normals are just gone. So I don't know what his like fast mid range like medium cancel is going to be. We didn't see low strong either, so you know there's a few options still on the table. What was I going to say though? Oh, but uppercuts launches on the only hit for medium, light and medium, and then heavy you might. Well, I think it launches on every hit for the heavy one. So like, if you're going into a grab super, especially one that like in Laura's style, it wouldn't work, you know, because it would just launch the opponent. If you were going through, well, the hit grab doesn't have a super cancel anywhere in it. So fireball, the stomp doesn't have any sort of like super cancel kind of properties. They wouldn't even work with a super cancel is what I'm trying to say. So it's like that little new special move he has where it kicks upward. It would be perfect for a super cancel. So I'm thinking that's one of the reasons they gave him that new special move is so he could do like, you know, normal into that kick into super. But this is all assuming that like it's possible he has another super. It's possible he has two. If any character's going to end up with two supers, besides Dan and his taunt super, and I guess the Raging Demons, or it would be a prime candidate, and they've already done it. You know, they've got precedent with the taunt super plus the Raging Demons. It wouldn't be too weird if Aura ended up with two supers. But if one of them is that grab, I would guess it's gonna end up working pretty similar to Laura, because that's kind of how it works in Street Fighter 3. But you know, maybe he has some kind of like way to combo super on airborne opponents. Either that one does work on airborne opponents, or he's got some other thing he could do. But this is just me conjecturing on something we haven't even seen yet. So we'll get more footage eventually, and I'll be able to make assessments then. And then we'll have a good idea of how he's working. We're at the end of the video. I don't know if I have that much more to say about it. I hope it was enlightening or insightful in some way for people who don't play Oro. Thanks for watching, whatnot.